It's a gray February morning in Ohio. Emily Carter stands in the middle of her half-empty bedroom, staring at the open suitcase on her bed. Her mother's voice trembles downstairs, reminding her about travel insurance, about safety, about calling every day. Emily smiles, pretending the world is under control. She believes she's walking toward love, not danger. When she hugs her mother goodbye at the airport, Susan clings to her like she's trying to memorize the shape of her daughter. Emily whispers, "It's only 90 days, Mom. You'll see. They'll come back with stories." But as Susan watches her disappear through the security gate, a chill settles in her chest. A mother's intuition whispering that this might be the last time she'll ever see her daughter alive. The plane touches down in Istanbul with a jolt that wakes Emily from a restless sleep. She looks out the window, captivated by the sprawling city of minarets and winding streets. CM is waiting outside customs, holding a cardboard sign with her name in bold letters. He's taller than she imagined, his dark hair tied loosely, a half smile forming as their eyes meet. When he hugs her, it's tight, too tight, but Emily tells herself it's passion, not control. "Welcome home," he whispers, and for a brief moment, she believes him. The taxi ride into the city feels like a movie montage. Chaotic streets, the call to prayer echoing through the air, Sem's hand resting possessively on Emily's knee. He talks endlessly about their future. A small home by the sea, his dream of opening a tour company together. Emily listens, half in awe, half in disbelief at her own boldness. But as they pass rows of decaying apartment buildings, she wonders quietly where exactly she's heading. That night, Emily video calls her mother from Sem's apartment. The room is small but cozy, with patterned rugs and the faint smell of incense. Susan's face appears on the screen, smiling but searching for clues. "He seems wonderful," she says softly. Emily nods, but behind her, Shem's silhouette passes in the background, listening. When the call ends, the room feels heavier, the silence thicker. Emily sets her phone down, staring at the locked door. Days turn into a strange, suspended rhythm. CEM takes Emily to cafes and along the Bosphorus, but never lets her go anywhere alone. Her laughter becomes quieter. One evening, she writes in her journal, "He says I don't need friends here, that I have him outside." The call to prayer rises again, echoing through the cold air like a warning she refuses to hear. A week passes like a blur. CM fills Emily's days with color. Boat rides on the Bosphorus, late dinners under lanterns, endless laughter. She posts smiling photos, her captions full of optimism. New city, new life, new love. Her followers flood her comments with hearts and envy. But what the pictures don't show are the moments between, the subtle corrections, the way CM frowns when she speaks to waiters, the quiet apology in her eyes when she lowers her phone. Every fairy tale, she tells herself, has an adjustment period. She just needs to learn the rhythm of his love. CM insists she stop posting online. "People don't need to see our life," he says, voice calm but final. Emily laughs it off at first, thinking he's shy. But when she picks up her phone later, he's already changed her password. "For safety," he explains. She nods, uneasy. That night, she looks at the city from their balcony. The call to prayer rising, stray cats moving through the alleys, and for the first time, she feels like an outsider in her own story. The next morning, CM surprises her with a gold bracelet. Gift," he says, clasping it tightly around her wrist. "So you'll always remember me," Emily smiles. But the bracelet feels heavy, its clasp stiff, impossible to remove. He kisses her forehead, calling her "my treasure." Later, while he showers, she tries to slide it off. It doesn't move. The sound of running water grows louder. almost like warning. At a cafe overlooking Galata Tower, Emily meets another American woman, a traveler named Rachel. It's the first English conversation she's had in weeks. They exchange numbers quickly before CM returns from the restroom. He smiles at Rachel politely, but his hand tightens around Emily's waist. That night, he asks too many questions. Why would you need new friends? His tone is even, but his eyes burn. Emily deletes Rachel's number while he watches. Good girl, he whispers, and turns off the light. The illusion begins to crack. Emily wakes one night to find Sem's phone buzzing with messages she can't read. Names she doesn't recognize. Photos she doesn't understand. When he catches her looking, he smiles thinly. Don't ever touch my phone again, he murmurs. His hand rests on her knee, firm, cold, claiming. She nods, the silence swallowing her whole. Outside, rain hits the window like 1,000 tiny alarms no one hears. 2 weeks pass. Emily's messages to her mother grow shorter. First daily, then every few days, then nothing. Her last email reads, "Don't worry, Mom. Sam and I are traveling south for a bit. I'll message when I have Wi-Fi." Susan rereads it every night, the way people reread the last line of a letter before war. She tries to convince herself it's normal. New countries, bad connections. But when Emily's phone stops ringing altogether, denial becomes a luxury she can't afford. Susan sends message after message. Facebook, WhatsApp, email. Each one marked delivered. Never read. She calls the US Embassy, leaves voicemails no one answers. At night, she scrolls through Emily's old posts. Photos with CM, captions about destiny and love. The comments section fills with strangers asking, "Where are you?" Susan types a reply that she deletes 3 times before posting. "If anyone has seen my daughter, please contact." Thousands of miles away, in a small apartment above an antique shop, Emily sits alone. CM is gone for the night. She stares at her phone. Messages drafted but unsent. Her reflection trembles in the dark screen. When she finally tries to call her mother, the number fails. Service unavailable. She tries again. Nothing. The city outside feels endless, unreachably foreign. The bracelet on her wrist catches the light like a shackle. Days turn into static. Susan's messages go unanswered. She contacts Mark, Emily's ex-fiancé. He hesitates, torn between regret and guilt, before agreeing to help. They comb through Emily's Instagram. Reverse image searches, location tags, archived stories. One geotag catches Susan's eye. A seaside village 3 hours south of Istanbul. Mark frowns. She never mentioned going there. Susan writes it down. It's the first real lead. In Istanbul, Emily finally confronts CM. "Why did you block my mother?" she demands. His face hardens. "Because she doesn't need to poison you against me." The argument spirals. English and Turkish words colliding like shrapnel. He slams the door and disappears into the night. Emily collapses onto the floor, clutching her phone, whispering, "Please, Mom, please answer." But the only reply is silence. Detective Murat Özdemir reads the missing person report under the flickering light of his Istanbul precinct. He's seen dozens like it. Foreigners who vanish. Love stories that end badly. But something in Susan Carter's trembling emails haunts him. He prints the last known photo of Emily, her smile bright, her eyes a touch uncertain. "Find her," the embassy's liaison says flatly. Murat nods, pocketing the photo. He's not sure why this case feels different, but deep down, he knows he's already too late. Murat's first stop is the apartment Emily shared with CM. The landlord opens the door hesitantly, eyes darting toward the hallway as if afraid to be seen. Inside, the place is stripped bare. No clothes, no photos, no signs of life. Only a single gold earring glints beneath the radiator. Murat pockets it carefully. "When did they leave?" he asks. The landlord shrugs. 3 weeks ago. Said they were moving south. Murat looks out the window at the maze of streets below, the city pulsing with secrets. Following the trace of a bank withdrawal, Murat drives toward the southern coast. Hours pass through winding mountain roads and fog. By dusk, he reaches a quiet fishing village by the sea. Locals stare as he walks into a small cafe, showing Emily's photo. Most look away. One old fisherman finally speaks. She came here, with the tall man, stayed a few nights near the cliffs, then nothing. Murat thanks him, sliding the photo back into his jacket, the first thread tightening around Kaya's name. That night, Murat explores the rocky cliffs alone. The wind howls, waves crash below, and his flashlight beam cuts across broken glass, cigarette butts, a half-buried phone, its casing scorched by fire. He crouches, heart pounding, recognizing the brand listed in the missing person file. Emily's model. He bags it carefully, whispering to the darkness, "We're getting close, cousin." The sea answers with silence. Back at the precinct, Murat writes his report. Evidence recovered. Female's possible phone, coastal area near Antalya. His superior skims it, then sets it aside. Let it go, Murat. Too far, too little proof. Murat closes the file slowly, but his eyes stay on Emily's picture pinned to the wall. Somewhere, a mother in Ohio still waits for her daughter's voice. And Murat, haunted by too many unfinished cases, decides he won't let this one fade into paperwork. It had been 90 days since Emily's last message. Susan sat in her living room, staring at the clock, every tick louder than the last. The doorbell rang. A brown, unmarked package lay on the doorstep. No name. No return address. Her hands shook as she picked it up, her heartbeat echoing through her chest. She carried it inside like a sacred relic, and when she opened it, the air seemed to freeze. Inside, Emily's passport, a blood-stained scarf, and a folded note in Turkish. Susan's scream shattered the quiet house. The note is brief, scrawled in hurried Turkish handwriting. "I tried. I couldn't escape." Susan holds it to her chest, her body shaking. She calls Mark. His voice breaks when she whispers, "It's Emily. She's in trouble." "I know it." They sit together in stunned silence, the gravity of the package heavier than any words. Somewhere across the globe, a daughter's cry had traveled through paper and blood to reach the only person who might still save her. Desperate for answers, Susan contacts the embassy again. Murat, now fully invested, responds immediately. He confirms the note's language, translating each terrifying word. "We need to move fast," he says. Susan's fingers tighten around the scarf. The package was a message, a final breadcrumb from Emily, or perhaps a cruel taunt from someone who had her. But Susan feels one thing clearly. She cannot wait any longer. Murat traces the package. The postmark leads to a small town near Antalya, close to where Emily's burned phone was found. Kaya's known associates begin to surface. Murat and Susan exchange a grim understanding. The trail is narrowing, and every second matters. Somewhere, in the same coastal village where Emily had vanished, someone watches their moves, and the truth inches closer to daylight. Susan lays the items on the table, tracing the edges of the scarf with trembling fingers. "I will find you, Emily," she whispers. Outside, the wind rustles the trees, carrying a quiet, almost accusatory echo. The package had turned fear into certainty. Emily's world was no longer a dream, and the people she trusted most were no longer safe. Susan steels herself. The hunt for the truth was about to begin in earnest. Murat tracks Kaya to a modest villa near the southern coast. Surveillance shows him moving cautiously, as if aware of eyes on him. Murat's instincts scream danger, but he cannot wait. The villa's walls hold secrets of Emily's final days. Murat takes a deep breath, the weight of every missing person he's ever failed pressing down. This time, he cannot let fear rule him. Confrontation is inevitable. Murat enters the villa, badge visible, voice firm. CM Kaya. We need to talk about Emily Carter. Sem's eyes flash, charm replaced by steel. She ran away, he insists. Voice low, dangerous. Murat doesn't flinch. Each denial is a piece of a puzzle Murat already understands. He begins to uncover hidden compartments, emails, and accounts hinting at Sem's ties to human trafficking and black market antiques, proof that Emily's disappearance was planned, not accidental. CM finally breaks when Murat presents the evidence. I didn't mean to, he stammers. His confession is fragmented. Emily resisted. She tried to leave. He lost control. Murat listens, heart hammering, as CM admits to isolating her, burning her phone, and controlling her movements. Every word confirms Susan's fears. Emily's life had been constrained by a cage disguised as love. Evidence leads Murat to a farmhouse inland. Hidden cameras, discarded clothing, and signs of struggle suggest Emily tried to escape. Forensics confirm traces of blood matching Emily's DNA. CM continues to claim she ran, but Murat knows otherwise. The farmhouse, abandoned and silent, tells the story CM cannot voice. The story of Emily's final, desperate attempts to reclaim freedom. Murat calls Susan. We have proof of what happened, he says, voice steady but somber. She clutches the phone, breath trembling. The evidence is undeniable, yet fragments remain. Emily's last moments, her thoughts, her fear, lost to the sea and the cliffs where Sem tried to hide the truth. Susan sobs quietly, but determination hardens in her eyes. Justice is coming, but first, she must face the emptiness left behind. Weeks after Sem's confession, forensic teams search the cliffs near the southern village. Emily's remains are finally discovered, partially concealed beneath driftwood and rocks. Murat stands silently as the body is carefully recovered. Every detail confirms the nightmare Susan had feared. Her daughter's disappearance was no accident. The wind from the Mediterranean carries a bitter tang of salt and inevitability. Murat closes his eyes, whispering a quiet apology for the delay, for the months of fear Emily endured alone. CM Kaya is arrested and led away in handcuffs. He offers no resistance, his expression empty, his charm gone. Murat watches him board the vehicle, knowing that while the law will punish him, it cannot return what was taken. Justice, when delayed, is always bittersweet. Susan follows the news from Ohio, gripping Emily's scarf tightly, tears streaking her face. One chapter has ended, but the memory of her daughter will linger forever. Susan travels to Turkey for a memorial at the cliffs where Emily's journey ended. She scatters flowers into the sea, whispering the words she wished she could have spoken when Emily was alive. Murat watches from a distance, silent but supportive. The sea roars beneath them, a mournful witness to love, loss, and courage. Susan feels a hollow ache, but also a fragile peace. Emily's story, though tragic, is finally acknowledged. Back home in Ohio, Susan organizes Emily's belongings. Journals, travel guides, her remaining blog posts. She reads Emily's words aloud, letting the voice of her daughter fill the room one last time. Each memory is a small victory over grief, a reminder that Emily lived, laughed, and loved fiercely. Even in loss, Susan clings to the fragments of who her daughter was, a legacy of courage that will never fade. The case closes, but shadows linger. Some questions will never be answered. The full extent of Sem's network, whether others were involved, the moments of Emily's final hours that remain unseen. Yet Susan whispers into the quiet night, "Rest now, my daughter. We will never forget you." And in that whispered farewell, there is release. A mother's love, finally unbroken by distance, lies, or death.